like every camp I have like up to 15 sparring partners, and we just going through rounds.
Sure.
And sometimes I see the guys and like I've seen their face and we're like, oh, okay, that's my former sparring partner. You know? Obviously, I didn't forget about AJ, and since he won the Olympics, I was his biggest fan and supporter of his talent, and I think he's an extremely talented guy. And I think that probably 3 or even 5 years later, it's going to be too hard to beat him. Right now, it's he's going to keep developing himself. He's doing. It's going to be really tough to beat him.
Is he a much different fighter now, just when you've watched him against other opponents than he was from back then?
He picked up tremendous speed and power, and he got more knowledge and more experience. He still learned a lot. He's still raw,
Right.
even if he looks very impressive in his fights and just in general. But obviously with 27, I just in a certain way remember myself, and I can see myself as well in him. So I have my own estimation of what is going to come up and what I got to do. What I got to do. I have to do what I got to do. And it's definitely going to be, as I said, my biggest challenge.
You mentioned him being raw, only 18 fights and 27 years of age, and you have so much more experience than him. When you look at his style now and just how he's developing, what do you notice about him just in the ring, and what do you think he needs to develop like this as he progresses as a heavyweight?
There's so many questions about Anthony. So we know that he's Olympic champion, and he's a world champion, and he's undefeated. But there's another question: what he's gonna do if his opponent is not gonna have fear, or what he's gonna do when he's gonna get hit again and again? What he's gonna do when he has to get up and fight back? What he's gonna do if he's not gonna go in his pace, or he needs to go backwards? So there's a lot of questions. Is he Frank Bruno, the new Frank Bruno? Is he capable of handling it properly? So there's a lot of questions, and I think there's a lot of questions for himself that can be only answered in the actual fight. I think he's gonna face strong opposition.
You think he's been matched pretty carefully so far in his career?
I believe so. I mean, I don't know. In 18 fights, there's no big names, or were no big names, or where you can say like, well, at least that guy was experienced, or so. And I understand. I don't want to disrespect the opposition. So I had in the past also, and questionable guys or whatever. So I just was fighting anybody was put it by my promoter in front of me, and I was taking care of it. So he did as well. But now we will know the truth.
Wladimir, can I ask, obviously there's, as you know, great interest in the UK. You've had battles with lots of British heavyweights down the years. 90,000 tickets sold for Wembley Stadium, and I suppose a great fillip for you, a great motivation that there is so much interest in the UK in this fight. It's a massive fight.
Well, when this fight eventually was made for the fans, and I believe that in boxing, promoters and managers forgetting about the importance of satisfaction of the fans, because eventually they need to get what they're looking for. And I think that this fight is definitely something that we were thinking is going to be great on both sides. One Olympic champion is fighting another one. One generation is fighting the other generation. So there's a lot of questions still. Is I still have it, still got it, or is Anthony is that far to face that opposition? Is he good enough now? So, and all these questions obviously were out there in our minds, but we never thought it's gonna be that big. So thankfully it is that big. and it's getting even bigger. Unexpectedly, it's getting even bigger, and the interest is tremendous and amazing. And I'm happy about it because it's an upscale. It's for me, it's certainly upgrade in my career as a fighter, to fight in my biggest stage that I ever had in front of 90,000 people. I never fought in front of so many people. I had maybe 40, 50, 60, but never 90. It's the toughest challenge I ever had because he's in a certain way a copy of me, size-wise and with the records in a certain way, as I said about the Olympics, and he's a champion, world champion in professional sport. As I was, it's kind of sound a little bit weird even today to say I was, but anyway.
And fighting in the UK doesn't feel like fighting away from home necessarily because you've been there so long.
No, I'm happy to be back in the UK. I know we have a lot of, I'll say Vitaly and I, since we're fighting there as well, a lot of followers, and we've been fighting British fighters a lot in our careers, and I know we have fans there too, and not to forget boxing came from Great Britain, so it's great to be back where boxing came from and actually fighting on British soil.
And you enjoy fighting a guy with no kind of table throwing and chair throwing? Do you enjoy that build-up where it's more two sportsmen?
I never had this before because usually guys always were in a certain way nasty, or fighters like trying to eat their children and
goad you and irk you,
throw tables, F-words, whatever. So to promote the fight, that's probably their idea, or chasing on the speedboat, you know, the paddleboarder, I don't know, something like that. So, and it shows totally different quality of the sport, and I think the sport of boxing is a sweet science.